versus Chinese Taipei.
You know,
Can we not show Group C? Let's not show Group C.
No,
Don't want
no
to see
Group
it.
C. You don't get to look at it, listen, skills.
You caught me a little off guard, but I was like, okay, I can go with this.
Just turning, I'm like, am I crazy?
I'm casting this game. I know about this game, so it's all right. Yeah.
Well, that's fine, because Chinese Taipei and Finland are coming up next. Two powerhouse teams, especially Finland. Finland looks so good with this roster that they've brought. Mitch, I know you know a lot about them, so tell me what we're going to keep an eye on here.
Well, I mean, a lot of things. First of all, a little bit of a story. Way back when, the guy in the middle there, Zappos, with the beard and the moustache, one day when Anna was released into Overwatch, he said, guys, I like playing McCree. I think he's a good hero, but I want to play Anna. And his whole team's like, well, none of us can really play McCree. He's like, that's fine. You just keep playing what you're playing. I'll play Anna. And so the triple tank comp was born. NIP were the first team to actually play with the Anna and the tank stacking, and it all became because Zappos simply wanted to play Anna. He loved it so much. Obviously now we've seen a couple evolutions of this now. Quad tank, which you've seen a little bit from the Canadian side there as well. But the origins of this team comp that's been terrorizing people through, you know, solo queue and ranked alike comes from these guys here.
Yeah, we can all blame Zappos.
We are forever unhappy with Zappos. He brought this upon us. We have to deal with the triple tank. No, but of course, with this team here in Finland, you also have Lynx and you have Taimu on the roster. And even Zini, you know, there's just so much skill on this roster. You don't even have to play the triple tank composition. No. You can't pull out the Winston Genji. They're all good on McCree as well. So, you know, there's more than just triple tank to this Finland team.
Well, the fact that Lynx was originally touted as being the Reinhardt player, which I'm sure you're delighted about.
Yes.
We also saw him rocking the Widowmaker in a scrim yesterday as well. Yes. So I mean, which is his old classic hero. So there's really a lot of depth in this team in terms of what heroes they can play throughout, and it seems like they can rotate. Of course, their opponents. Well, I wouldn't say they're a complete unknown in Chinese Taipei, but they're definitely up against here. I would say Finland probably coming in outside of South Korea, which we just saw poor old Mitch's Australia getting absolutely destroyed. I'm just going to throw it out there.
That was your fault?
Look, Finland are obviously the #2 team, I think. Sweden may have something to say about that, but Finland are looking solid.
Yeah, for sure, and they're very happy. Like, they have great team chemistry together. They're very pumped to win. We've spoken to Finland here.
There's a lot of pride there.
Yes, they're very excited,
pride.
and they want to beat Sweden specifically. You know, such a great matchup if they meet later in the bracket.
But again, like back to the topic of Chinese Taipei, this is a team who've been playing Overwatch since at least the start of the year as pretty much a team. Yeah. 5 players on the Chinese Taipei squad are from AHQ, which is a very well-known organization from that part of the world. These guys have been around. Baby Niet, the only player that's not from AHQ there, he's actually a streamer. He's also a commentator as well. So, you know, we expect him to not be, you know, really dragging his team down. We actually expect him to maybe add a bit in terms of the communicative aspect. But Chinese Taipei, their teams always used to play against the Japanese teams, actually. Those two regions used to battle a lot. It wasn't Chinese Taipei versus China or anything like that. So the first few exhibition matches that ever existed between Japan and Chinese Taipei featured AHQ versus Detonator, who were the Japanese team we actually saw in China. So long story short, these guys have been around for quite a while. Lilgo is quite funny. He pretends he can't speak English, and then he just takes his time and then makes a very emotive statement in English, perfect English, while we've all been talking through a translator. So he's got a bit of a sense of humor on him. And Zonda. Lee, you should remember this guy more than anyone else here.
Yeah, the man from League of Legends, long time ago, obviously was very successful in that, did very well. And actually, he's now one of the top, I believe he's in the top 50 on the Korean solo queue server as well in rankings. In Overwatch, server. Of course, we're talking. Because obviously they play on the Korean servers, so he is a solid player with a wealth of experience.
So what I'm wondering, when I see a roster like Chinese Taipei go up against one like Finland's, do you think there's a huge advantage in that Chinese Taipei is playing with a very familiar structure, or do you think it's a bigger advantage for Finland to come in with these powerhouse, you know, land-tested, competitive lineup?
I mean, I think it's kind of even in that regard, no, because Finland as well, they have the 3 players from NIP, they know each other very well. So I think it will be more up to Chinese Taipei if they can shock Finland with some sort of strategy, some tactic here. As we know, the Asian teams are a bit more aggressive. Can they shock Finland and maybe do something, you know, to surprise Finland? I think they can grab a win here.
The thing is as well, for Finland, they've stuck together like limpets ever sort of since they were here. And the Finnish scene was all very close-knit when it started off. Like SG1 or NIP now, as it's known, is a full Finnish roster. And guys like Lynx are very aware of these guys, even though they have different histories. So they had absolutely no problem at all sort of getting it going, like off the bat. They have good synergy, they feel comfortable, they're good mates. So for them, they're not having any problems at all gelling. So I don't necessarily know if AHQ, or those 5 members of AHQ, HQ in Chinese Taipei can be considered a trump card here.
I mean, the biggest issue is obviously for Chinese Taipei is that Finland have players that have just played in China and are playing in Korea, so they are used to the Asian scene. So even if NIP, which is obviously there's 3 NIP members in the Finnish team, are not playing over there, they're certainly watching it. They've certainly got teammates that are playing in it, so they're not going to get caught off guard by any of this.
All right, well, looks like our boys are ready. So Chinese Taipei and Finland are about to go head-to-head. Casters, take it away.
Thanks, Rachel. I'm excited for this match, ZP. You know, Finland, Chinese Taipei. I think this one could be much closer than some people anticipate.
I think so, too. Both of these teams do have their upsides. And truth be told, you take a look at Finland here. Sweden might have been getting more of the love as far as the European teams go. But Finland, they are stacked of talent as well. And they're not one to underestimate as they come in here.
I kind of agree with D-Man. I think Finland is a team that you can put up maybe even above Sweden, like right under South Korea, like right up there with South Korea. Because, you know, they have some good teamwork, right? You know, 3 of those guys on NIP, get Taimu, fantastic DPS player. But, you know, Chinese Taipei with 5 members coming from the same team, you don't know if they have some strats that they've worked on that they have at home that they're going to bring in here to try and shock Finland.
Yeah, and I remember talking with the teams like Chinese Taipei over the course of the weekend. They feel pretty confident about their chances here, and they do have that experience playing with each other, and if any team wants to go up against them and thinks it's going to be easy, I think they might have another thing coming.
I do think, though, with the show that we just saw South Korea put on, I feel like you're going to see Finland come out and try and, you know, trump that performance. And you can see the first map here going to be the Temple of Anubis. You'll be seeing Chinese Taipei on the defensive side of things. Anything that shocks you a little bit about their comp, ZP?
Absolutely nothing shocking here thus far. Of course, there was a point where you didn't see Winston too much on defense, but after seeing the blueprint put out by Miro and other great Winstons as of late, why not run it? It's a great way of creating space for your team. They're going to have the Mei for extra control there, and overall, pretty decent team comp coming out here from Chinese Taipei.
And on the side of Finland, obviously, you know, still a decent amount of time to just change their comp up. See, Baby Neil there, right, using the Halloween emote there from Reinhardt, smashing the pumpkins. But we saw Finland the other day, just in a scrimmage, use Widow to great effect on this. Don't think we'll see it here early. You'll see Taimu actually switch over to Widow, so you will actually see Widowmaker. Don't know if it's from the person we expected to see it from, but Taimu's had some incredible clips with Widow at the start of Overwatch, and we'll actually get underway with Taimu, see if he can hit some of these shots as Widow.
Taimu made a lot of his early fame off Widowmaker, one of the best Widows in the game. Obviously, Widow's been played a little bit less so far, but Taimu going to be going in, looking for those early pickoffs. And if you can get a 65 here on the beginning of Anubis, it's one of the best ways of just snowballing things forward, taking the point, and even getting through quickly as Taimu does land that first kill on the Zonda.
Yeah, it's a big first kill there for the side of Finland, and now they're going to be able to just start push closer towards the point. And you know, when you have that Widow come out, ZP, nice shot there from Danny. Does it just change your way on the defensive end, like, you know, what you're originally planning? It just, I feel like it just throws a whole wrench in your plans.
Widow is like an invisible blanket that is smothering you. It really causes you to respect sightlines more. You can't give her free poke, and it means that the offense has more chances. Himsy right now putting on a show. Got 2 hooks, was looking for a third, and Anna just barely sleeping to save herself. But X, this is starting to look like a snowball here for Finland.
Yeah, and as the fight continues, you see Himsy's going to get a nice hook there on Eddie Boss, and he's just fighting inside of the point there. It's going to be Lazy Titan drop, and the rest of Finland coming in strong. So really good first opening break from Finland.
And for those who don't know, Himsy is one of the world-class Roadhog players in the game. Very well respected, one of the best hogs that you can find. So not too surprised to see Finland throwing him out here on the hog. And for now, it's been a great game for Himsy. Taimu was able to create space with the Widowmaker. He has now switched to McCree, but Finland will have a good deal of ball momentum going into this next push here.
Yeah, now something when we spoke with Finland, they were really, I think the one thing they were really worried about more than anything was just Linkser on that Reinhardt. And I think for him, it's just figuring out the timings, like when he can engage, when he needs to fall back, play a little bit more passive. It'll be interesting to see as this exhibition progresses how his play improves on Reinhardt. You see some nice shots being put down there on Zonda from Taimu, and now he's going to work closer, getting towards that point on McCree, keeping a good distance though, putting down a lot of damage.
Soundbear comes in Finland still trying to take this, but here's the problem at this point. If you don't flawless victory at this point, it's very difficult to take it, and Chinese Taipei, even though they're losing number-wise on this point, respawns are going to be coming in soon, and they should be able to push this back as Himsy gets taken for a ride.
He's just trying to stay alive for as long as possible, trying to get a hook off. Nice play there from Himsy, staying alive. He's going to have to back up, wait for some teammates here before they try and get towards that point yet again. They don't get a tick on it at all there, so a good hold there from Chinese Taipei. Finland does have that Earth Shatter to work with. They will have the whole hog too, so you see they may combo both of those.
right? And that was a really important hold for Chinese Taipei. They were at an ult disadvantage. It wasn't a great position to be in. And now, though, that they've pushed it back, they're going to be able to even things out on ults and really force Finland to bank up a bit. It's difficult to clear out this point without a lot in your ult bank. So Finland is probably going to have to go through at least a few junk rushes here before they're really set to take it, because, as mentioned, if you don't kill all 6 without losing at least no more than 1, it's going to be very difficult to take this point.
Yeah, and you'll see Lazy Tiding, he has that Graviton Surge for Chinese Taipei. The Earth Shatter is going to come in from the side of Finland, but a nice Blizzard comes from Danny on the side of Chinese Taipei, and they're actually going to be able to pick up 2 players off the back of that. It's going to force Finland to back all the way up. A nice wall there, trying to force that Lucio back towards his teammates, but they're going to let Finland go back, reset. Another good hold here from Chinese Taipei.
Chinese Taipei, their war chest is growing. They do have 3 ults at the readies. And Sound Bear and Nana Boost soon to be up as well. So Finland, not in the greatest position to take this on the next fight. And let's take a look at Zonda here. Zonda will have that Death Blossom set up. He is ready to drop right down. Nana Boost might even be up for him by the time Finland gets here. And Zonda right now, ready to set them up.
Oh, I don't know if they have any idea that Zonda's there. He's going to drop down with a Death Blossom. He's going to be able to get Taimu, and Taimu calls in that Deadeye. So that is stopped there at the hands of Zonda. Fantastic push here by Chinese Taipei, getting pretty aggressive on the defensive end, but they make it work as they take out the remaining members of Finland, and Finland's going to have to reset yet again.
So we do have a switch up here by Finland where Widowmaker will be coming up once again. And there's a point where teams used to like running Widow much more often here on maps like Anubis. All the assault maps here, because if you can get the early pickoff, it makes it so much easier to actually take the rest of the point. And Taimu right now will be looking for that all-important first pick. We'll see if he can do it.
And I feel like ZP, it puts a lot of pressure on Himsy. Like if you do see Taimu get a pick, like for Himsy to get inside of the point, pick up some kills, because they have no way to pick up those kills and engagements at close range. And you see it's going to be a Nana Boost coming in, and Himsy just trying to stay alive here, has Whole Hog. See if he decides to use it. He's going to pop that Whole Hog. He's going to get one. He's going to try and take out May. May goes into that ice block. Fantastic play there. You're going to see Himsy with a nice hook there on Lucio. As he gets close, it's going to be a fantastic bubble. Just keeping Lilgo alive, and well, does not stay alive for long as Himsy chases him down as Roadhog. And now it's going to be Finland inside of the point.
And Finland has enough people alive to keep this going. They only lost 1 going into this, so they're in a great position to keep chaining deaths on the defense, keep control of this point. They're halfway there right now, and Linkser and Himsy not stopping whatsoever. Linkser just rolling in, swinging his hammer at all covers. And Finland now just 1 tick away, and that's going to be it. They capture the point with almost 3 minutes remaining.
Yeah, pretty good offensive push there from Finland. A lot of time left in the time bank. And you know, you look, when you saw the switch from Taimu back over to the Widow, that's when they broke through. I was worried they were not going to have enough close range engage, like they were going to get a pick and then not be able to get in right away. But I know Himsy, some fantastic Roadhog play, goes 15-0 there in the first half. Very nice half for Himsy on the Roadhog.
It was great for Himsy on the Roadhog, and overall, you take a look at the stats over the course of that game, it can be a little bit misleading as to how well the defense is doing, because the defense can sort of lose a fight and still come back and defend on the last point in Anubis. But overall, for the eliminations in that game, it was 61-33 in favor of Finland. So Finland definitely with an air of dominance about them here, and we'll see how they go going into their defense coming up here in just a moment.
So a pretty good defense, though, on that second point by Chinese Taipei. So a lot of things I liked out of them. It'll be interesting, though. Do they have the aggression and just, you know, the slaying potential to take out this Finland team on the offensive end? I think that'll be the story here, obviously, in the second half.
And taking a look at the Finland defense, one good thing for them, they do have Himsy on the Roadhog, where him on defense is actually one of the better defensive tools you can have, just because I've seen him crush so many offensive pushes just with that early hook. He's really aggressive with his hooks, but he knows exactly where to go to land it. So it's always a threat to the offense as they set up, and no matter how coordinated you are, if Himsy reads you right, throws the hook around the corner and grabs you, your push just ends right then and there.
Well, it's just a threat of the hook, right? I mean, when you know that Roadhog has that hook up and it's not on a cooldown, you don't want to push in there. You know there's a chance you can get separated from your team, pulled into instant death. And I think just Himsy does a fantastic job knowing the timings on Roadhog.
I gotta say, I love this, by the way. Taimu, not normally a Winston player. He is flexing a little bit for this exhibition, but he is a really, really big fan of Miro, so I think he's gonna fanboy out a little bit here and show us his best Winston play.
There'll be Chinese Taipei on offense here. And we'll see what they do off the rip. You'll have Danny now running the Widow, trying to make it work of his own, and see if he can get an early pick here, as looks like they're going to choose to engage up on the bridge.
They do roll right in with the Winston. They push Finland back a bit, but Finland, they're able to back out. They don't immediately lose anyone. They're under pressure, but this is good positioning for them. They give Himsy time to take out Lucio, and just like that, Finland's going to be able to push right back into Chinese Taipei, and they just stopped moving their X. They wanted the full reset. Or...
Yeah, it looks like a little bit of a pause there on that initial push, so we'll just kind of talk about what we've seen so far from Finland, and I know they've just done a fantastic job on the offensive end. We'll see what they can do on the defensive side of things. We liked what they did there early. You saw Danny for Chinese Taipei go with the Widowmaker. You know, it's interesting. It's like, I feel like it's one of those things, EP, where you see a comp work against you and then you just kind of go and use it for yourself. I don't know how well it'll work for Chinese Taipei.
There's no hero in the game that causes that phenomenon more than Widowmaker, but oftentimes it can be a losing proposition where if a Widowmaker is doing really well against you and you have no answer, sort of the feel is, oh, I'm going to run a Widowmaker of my own. But if the other team is way more practiced with Widowmaker, the odds of that going well for you, not so great. Now, this wasn't exactly a Widow v Widow situation, but there have been points in the game where one team doing super well with Widow causes the other team to try their luck as well. And that's just sort of how polarizing the hero she is.
Yeah, and I think for me, the thing that Finland, they have going well for them right now is obviously Himsy on the Roadhog. It's like, if you were Chinese Taipei, how do you go about attacking him?
It's difficult because if you engage a lot in the Roadhog, but he's backed up by an Ana, backed up by good support, you might not get the pickoff. You could just be feeding the enemy support ultimates. And Himsy's really, really good about keeping himself in good positions. He's not an easy kill as a Roadhog. And the difficult thing is that he's not going to miss very many hooks. So sometimes when you look at Himsy, he does have an air of invincibility around him. Clearly, though, I think one of the better responses is to get a Reaper in there and pressure him that way.
Right, and I think also when you know he does not have that hook active, I think that's when you kind of like nuke him. You got to just unload a ton of damage onto him.
You don't just nuke him, you call for your entire team to roll right in, because there is a period where if Roadhog doesn't have hookup, he's much less of a threat. If everyone goes in, you can burst him down and go from there, because you are relying on Roadhog to give you a man advantage, but misses the hook, it'll be a 6v6.
Yeah, and I think, you know, with the attack that Chinese Taipei was going with, you're relying a lot on that Widow to get a pick. I mean, we saw it work for Finland because Taimu is just sick on Widowmaker. It's like, how long do you think you stay on something like a Widow on offense before you actually get a pick?
You stay on it for as long as you think there's potential. It's not so much about the results you're getting, but the idea is, oh, I've been getting opportunities and missing them. But if you haven't been getting good opportunities and you haven't been getting picks, that's when it's time to stop.
Yeah, I think you know, what we could have seen there from Chinese Taipei is maybe that initial push doesn't go well. Maybe they try one more time. You know, Widow up top, do some damage, create just a little bit of a distraction for the rest of the teammates to get on that bridge, force Finland down, and then I think you probably would have saw Chinese Taipei switch off of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things I would actually say here is that you do see a lot of double pick compositions, right? Where not only do you have a Widowmaker, but you also have a Roadhog. And that gives you a double threat here, where you look at Overwatch, where are the ways you kill people in the game? Burst damage and ultimates. Well, when you don't have ultimates up early on in the game, you have the burst damage from Widow, you have the burst damage from Roadhog, and it's a great way of breaking a defense.
Yeah, I just think, though, with the way Finland was set up, they're in such a power position, I just don't know if Chinese Taipei was going to break it like that. I think you may have needed to see them, you know, bring out like a Reaper or get like a Genji to really kind of go in with Winston and force that engage on the bridge. I think that, at least in my opinion, that's the way we see it broken the most.
Absolutely, and good Winston engages, too. You can follow through with a Genji and have sort of the double pressure there where you burst someone down in the back and at least force the defense back, create more room, create more opportunity for people to go in. And once you create that space, you don't initially have to go full in. Just take your time.
Yeah, I think, well, you know, Chinese Taipei, they have a lot in front of them, right? I know Finland's such a very strong team. We saw the time that they set in the first half on the offensive end. I think, you know, just looking forward in this matchup in this group, I feel like Chinese Taipei has a lot in front of them. And I know we did see some good things, so they are very coordinated as a team.
They are very coordinated, and I think there's potential there. And it's a tough group. There's no doubt about it. And just a note on Finland, by the way.
Yeah, and guys, just getting a quick update. It looks like we have some technical issues. We're just going to show a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back.
The Overwatch World Cup is sponsored in part by Intel, T-Mobile, NVIDIA, and Republic of Gamers.
Has been gone for so very long. I anticipate his return in every gust. It's maddening. Whatever is one to do to pass the time. I've gone and made a mess. Now, where was I? Oh, yes. Our unannounced visitors. Preparations must be made, for the Master will return to Karazhan soon.
Welcome back to the Overwatch World Cup. We're in Finland versus Chinese Taipei. Just taking a quick break here. You know, players just getting everything situated. But while we do this, we actually caught up with the Finland team the other day. Let's get to know them a little bit better.
Team Finland probably has one of the most individually skilled teams in the entire tournament.
The experience makes the professional players like the best.
Team Finland is here to have some serious fun. It's amazing to represent my own country in such a game.
We took the game super seriously at the early stage, so I think that's one of the reasons that made us really successful. Now everybody in Team Finland is very skilled. Being on the road for like 5 months, it's like super fun to meet your countrymen. I felt like we're gonna have a real good time.
Team Finland, they have the versatility to bring out all kinds of offensive heroes. They can play a super aggressive style, they can play a more defensive triple tank composition, and they can adapt.
We have really good chemistry in Team Finland. The three of us have been playing together for almost a year. We really know what each other plays, we know their hero pools, we know what they want to do in different situations.
I want to beat everyone, but especially Sweden, because like there's always been have been like rival a bit.
To see that all the Finnish Overwatch players have voted us to represent Finland, it feels amazing, man.
Welcome back, everyone. That was a little get to know you on Finland. Of course, we're just figuring some stuff out for the players behind us, but in the meantime, guys, we can take a deep dive on this team because led by Zappis, a beautiful man in his own right, he's got a hell of a backup behind him. 6 pro players. Tons of experience in this game.
Yeah, I mean, we've got so much to talk about even just off that first game, because it's the first time we're seeing Finland in an official capacity effectively outside of the qualifiers. And immediately we were talking about the Widowmaker. Well, we didn't mention that Taimu was there, you know, hello, this guy, this amazing Widowmaker. So obviously he started rocking the Widowmaker, switched back to the McCree and the Widowmaker. We saw Linksa doing some pretty high-level play, I think, on Reinhardt.
Yeah, on Reinhardt, that was exciting, you know. He's been going into this tournament feeling a bit under pressure. I think he's identified that everyone on Finland, they're kind of in their roles, you know, they're feeling comfortable. All the NIP players, you know, they know each other well. So, but Lynx came into this, you know, he's not accustomed to playing Reinhardt at all. So he's feeling the pressure from his teammates. But so far, he's been doing good, and we saw some good highlights on Anubis there.
Yeah, I mean, there were a couple of situations on Anubis already that we've seen from Lynx that we can maybe look at in a moment here. But, I mean, this team is incredibly interesting. I mean, we didn't even get a chance to talk about Saini as well, who he himself is an incredibly good sniper player, or at least he was back in Team Fortress 2. So, you know, talking about, you know, seeing what we have of that Widowmaker earlier on, this team is pretty nutty in what they can produce in that regard. Taimu, it's appropriate to see him on that one. saying he was actually hedged. He was pigeonholed as a bit of a sniper back from the TF2 days, and early in Overwatch, he was actually sort of stuck in that position. And then Lynx, for creation, used to pull the Widowmaker pick out on maps like Nepal, for God's sake, pulling it out on control maps and just, you know, giving people hell with that one as well. So if we see a little bit more prevalence in the Widowmaker pick there, I don't think a time of going to that one was really what made the difference on their attacking side. But
no, a good addition. It was a good addition.
Yes,
certainly.
it was the distraction. It was the total distraction factor. I mean, we obviously saw it in the scrims yesterday, so we kind of suspected it might well be coming, especially on Anubis. But it was enough of a distraction that Himsy, obviously we heard ZP mentioning about how good he is on Roadhog. It was enough of a distraction that he was able to start hooking the targets. They're all looking this way, and there's a hook coming that way, and suddenly they're pulled away. And the first point went very quickly. And honestly, they struggled a little bit on the second point, of course. But they did cap it out. They had, what, 2:52, I think, the time that they managed to do it in. But it was all about the beautiful bait play from Lynxer.
Yeah, for sure. One thing I do have to say about the Widowmaker, though, is that even though this team has like 3 Widowmakers in the top 5 world, you know, we saw Taimu on the first point go to Widowmaker, and it's really effective on the first point, but then we saw him go back to Widowmaker on the second point, and even though Finland took that point, I feel like they might be a bit overconfident on this Widowmaker. You know, it's not a pick that usually unlocks so many points. It has few niches, but it's not that good, and I hope to not see them on it too much.
Like, I have to ask you this: at what point do you, as you're playing McCree on towards that final point, at what point do you turn around and go, you know what we need? We need to get rid of McCree, and we need a Widowmaker here.
We need to do this from further away.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like when you're trying to push the second point on Anubis, there is some desperation if you don't get it straight away. So I can imagine Taimu sitting on stage. You know, he's been talking about Envious having problems with pressure on stage and etc. So if they fail to capture the second point on Anubis in 3 minutes or so, you know, maybe he's just swapping to that Widowmaker to change things up, but for the worse, in my opinion.
And if you do that as well, in general, you let a defensive team get rolling in a situation where they can actually build up a sufficient bank of ultimates. If they use them in 2s, let's just say, I mean, Graviton Surge Pulse Bomb, and the next fight could be Nano Boost and Death Blossom, you can keep yourself rolling and keep getting more ultimates, and there will never be a situation where you technically have an ultimate disadvantage. You don't want to let the defending team get rolling in that regard, or give them any fights where they can charge up ultimates for free without using any. It's a transaction, right? And you don't want to allow them get more than they, I guess, have earned or more than they bargained for.
Yeah, we're going to see these guys, you know, tackle once again Temple of Anubis, but after that they have Eichenwald and possibly Lijiang Tower as a final round out. So we know Team Finland pretty well. We know these Finnish guys. We've seen them play on these maps. What is going to be their strong suit here, and what do you think they're most concerned about with this map lineup?
Well, we saw it just actually on the defensive side, you know, the flexibility that they have. We were talking about at the start, obviously on attack, completely different. We're seeing these Widowmakers thrown out there. Go on defense, bam, 4 tanks, no problem. Don't need any more DPS really than that. They get the double support, 4 tanks covering off the point, and it seemed to start working very well there before we had the pause come in. So I think this is the main part of Finland. Obviously, we're looking at a lot of the teams. We're looking at the Germans, you know, your Russias. We are seeing in Finland there is a massive scope for flexibility. Obviously, when you originally look at it, you think, God, there's so much on this team. But I think they have it in the bag to adjust to the situation. It seems they are... Camaraderie is very strong. You know, we were looking at them just there, the laughing, everything. Every time we see these guys, they've got a big smile on their face and they're joking with each other, which is something you need when maybe things won't go so well for them like it is right now. Yeah, for sure. I want to go back to what you mentioned about the quad tank setup they're using now on defense on Anubis here. It's a very hard composition to go up against, and it feels like Chinese Taipei, they were a bit stuck, you know. It's a hard composition to really break through. You can't really go to any side of the map and get positioned because they will be all over you. So I think going into the Anubis again, I want to see Chinese Taipei. I want to see them bring out the Mei on offense, and I want to see them bring out the Reaper on offense to sort of bait out these engagements, because these hard tanks, you know, they don't have a way to go back or get away from the fight. So if they can bait out the aggression from Finland and then shut them out, I think they have a good chance of actually getting a good time here on Anubis. Yeah, it's tricky to play up against so many tanks as well, because generally the generally accepted method of dealing with a stacked tank composition is, like you said, use the Mei, you know, try and control the space with something like Blizzard. Also, get a Reaper in towards him. If he's nano boosted, Reaper's killing 200 HP heroes in 1 tick of that Death Blossom. So up against the tank compositions, he's a lot stronger. Problem is, this requires a few conditions to be met. He needs to be shielded, he needs to be speed boosted, he needs the Ana ultimate being used on him, of course, the nano boost. Whereas, you know, the conditions to winning his quad tank is just don't die.
Just stay around, heal yourself up, and weather the storm there. So it's much easier to play a quad tank comp, and it's a lot harder to have to respond to it and try and break it down.
And of course, obviously, the biggest thing is if you lose one of those tanks, there's not a great deal of damage there. So once one falls, generally the other four will go with it.
It's a lot to think about for Chinese Taipei. We can see them as they're getting set up themselves and kind of rallying as a team. You know, we talked about how what the advantage they have is coming in as 5 of a 6 complete pro team. Their 6th player is an analyst, a caster like yourselves. Right. So just speaking to the analyst caster role, I mean, how effective do you think you would be if you were asked to kind of jump into this spot?
You know, I don't know. I mean, I'm a bit old for this game, but I mean, we could ask. We've got AlphaCast here as well for the French team, who's obviously one of our work colleagues that is the captain of France, and he obviously, you know, even from talking to him, it's a lot of pressure, I guess, probably for Baby Knee. He's obviously is a Heroes of the Storm commentator actually back in his home country in Chinese Taipei, but. Overall, you know, you're coming into this one, he's probably getting a lot of flack, because that's what AlphaCast was saying. He's like a lot of pressure from perhaps other pro players. I mean, you mentioned there's 5 members of AHQ. That 6th guy is probably not happy.
What is he doing right now?
Yeah, I mean, look, that is definitely a good point as well. I think you don't like if you put me on that stage right now. First of all, I mean, hey, Katie will be out of job because I play McCree and just wreck everyone. But more importantly,
let's face it, everybody goes Lucio if you're a shoutcaster.
Well, I'm not doing that. That's why Crew left Melty in the first place. No more Lucio. I'm going to be just like that. But no, realistically, a player that plays on their own or maybe doesn't play in a team, there's a lot of things you need to understand. Execution. I have played in some situations with some players in like some in-houses and stuff, and even those where it's sort of a scrim and sort of serious, I am completely overwhelmed by the amount of information that I have to process and pass along, either just take it in or pass through as well. The hierarchy of threat, who am I killing? Even as a McCree player, you think it's quite straightforward, just click and kill, right? But you know, McCree requires a lot of positioning and staying safe as well. So I get overwhelmed really easily. So I can understand for players as well, especially because Baby Knee is not playing Lucy, he's playing the Reinhardt. He's playing tanky in this team. So it's not like, hey, break it down.
You know, tank requires nothing. Reinhardt is. I mean,
no. I mean, it's even harder because you don't get to see nearly as much of the game.
It's easy, right?
Yeah, you just press shift, you know, and you go a distance, you know, you set up your teammates. It's all about
triggered.
As you potentially move into a player role after this stint as analyst reinforced, where do you envision yourself?
I find you very condescending right now.
That's a very diplomatic way to put it. I would have said something else, but good on you. So polite.
Oh, it's a pleasure to work with you, and we're so happy for your pro player
I'm so happy to be
here.
on the desk.
Are you having a good time? Well, guys, we're just about to get back into this game with Chinese Taipei here going up against Finland. Is there anything else you wanted to add to kind of the viewer perspective to keep in mind as we watch these two teams fight?
Check out Finland's versatility. I think it's really exciting to watch them bring out so many different picks and so many different compositions. We've seen them in NIP play this triple tank composition, quad tank composition, and I think this Finland team just shows that there's so much versatility. There's so much more to them than just this single composition.
I'd say this is not going to be a rollover. I don't think this is going to be a stomp. I think what we've seen from Chinese Taipei lends itself to these guys being very mechanically skilled. So I don't think this should be a rollover. I think guys like Zonda and Danny Little Titans are going to be pretty darn scary. So do keep an eye on them.
All right, well, let's hop right back into the game and check out the action.
Thanks, Rachel. I loved Mitch's prediction there. He's like, I don't think it's going to be a stomp. And he's like, both sides. I love the way he played that. That's the kind of the prediction I would make. As just to kind of fill you guys in on the situation with the circumstances, you know, the fairest option was to restart the map. So we're going to be playing things off as though Finland did not get that last point. So it's going to give both teams a fair opportunity here. So it'll be Chinese Taipei on the defense, Finland back on the offense with Taimu on the Widowmaker.
What we see from Finland is that they will be running that double pick-off comp once more. If Taimu can't get it done, Himsy is going to try to get it done as well. So big threats here for Finland as they try and set up with a quick 6v5.
It'll be Taimu taking pretty much the same route he took the first time, and he's going to go up top trying to connect with a shot, and he sees the Reinhardt shield there, can call it out to his teammates so they know what to expect. But the defensive stand-up on the bridge, pretty standard here on Temple of Anubis, and you see Taimu just searching for players around the corner. Everybody on Chinese Taipei knows he's with the Widow, doesn't want to poke out, but right there you see Himsy getting a nice Hook, Linkser, and Co. finish off Zonda, and now you look to see Finland just take advantage of that early pick.
It's 2 picks here for Himsy, as Himsy just rolling right forward. This is where he's in his element. There's not too much to stop him here at this point. Hook is off cooldown once more. If the 6v4, soon to be a 6v3. Finland is just rolling through, doing whatever they want, and this should be a very quick first cap indeed.
Yeah, I mean, they're doing a nice job picking up these kills. They just got to get on the point. It's going to be Danny and Lilgo still alive for Chinese Taipei, and Zonda comes up the spawn, switches over to Reaper. I was going to say he's doing some nice things, but Taimu quickly ends his life there with a fantastic headshot. Nah, he's going to use his ultimate, knows exactly where the players are coming from. Gets immediately pounced on by Winston. It's going to be Finland. And everybody getting on the point, though. They are pushing strong. They look to be able to take this first point here on Temple of Anubis.
The Chinese Taipei just conceding this. They know that this point is done. And now here's the question is, will Finland, by winning that fight rather decisively, will they be able to go in here and take the next point just decisively? They will have a bit of an advantage. This is sort of the mini snowball here on Anubis, where your best chance at taking point B is right after taking point A. So Finland now with the window of opportunity as they move in versus Chinese Taipei.
Yeah, now Taimu on that first point, 3 eliminations, 0 deaths, 2,700 damage. So doing a lot for the Finland side of things. And we'll see if they stick with Widow. You know, see if they can break through. It's a little bit of what I'm worried about from the previous times. When they have Taimu on Widow, he's able to get a pick. How are they going to engage fast? Who's going to be in there to pick up those important eliminations on the point?
Well, he just got picked by the other sniper, the one known as Anna. Eddie Boss takes him out. Himsy right now looking for pickoffs, both 2 down on the Finland side. They sound there at kind of an inopportune time. This isn't great for them. They're already down people. Even if they get a few picks here, X, they're not going to have the critical mass needed to take this point.
No, and for Finland, they're just going to back out. They're going to have a nano boost to work with, a whole hog. They have a lot to use here on this next push. On the side of Chinese Taipei, though, they do have the Death Blossom and Blizzard, so look to see when the nano boost from Zappis comes in for Finland. Danny throw down that Blizzard, stop that nano boosted target right in his tracks.
Right, and a lot of options here for Chinese Taipei, but Taimu able to take down Danny immediately, sends him to 65, but Taimu gets taken down in turn by Eddie Boss. Sniper v sniper battles intensifying here, 5v5, as Finland tries to make the most of this. They roll right in.
Yeah, and it's going to be Zonda putting down some nice damage here with Reaper, just cutting down the opponents, able to take Mafu out, and just look at this little flank coming here, taking out Himsy. Fantastic play by Chinese Taipei, just sectioning off targets, picking people off one by one.
And here's the thing, even though Finland is starting to bank their war chest right now, your ultimate that they're missing here is certainly Sound Barrier. Take a look at Chinese Taipei. They're loaded for Bear as well, and that means it's pretty unlikely that even if Finland uses all their ults here, to have a flawless victory, gonna be really rough unless Taimu can get that early pickoff.
Oh, and it is so dangerous for Lilgo to try and peek him, and no, even Danny trying to peek him is May, and oh, you eventually knew that was going to happen with the way you saw things going. Taimu with a fantastic angle, just looking inside of the point, but the rest of his teammates in there, they're stuck in a Graviton Surge. Linkser on the point, nano boosted, he's going to fall, and it's going to be Chinese Taipei getting a hold here.
And that was the problem there for Finland, is that even getting the early pickoff from Taimu, there are so many ultimates up on the side of Chinese Taipei that to get through there and actually win in such a way that they could keep up momentum was going to be unlikely. But to their credit, they did drain a lot of resources out of Chinese Taipei. And we'll see now, if Taimu can get a pick, it might go way better for them this time around.
And do you think the side of Finland needs to change anything up, ZP? You know, we see Taimu doing a nice job, just putting down some shots, you know, connecting, getting some limbs here early, but they're not actually able to get onto the point to make anything happen. Do you think they need him to switch up here off of the Widow to try and take this one?
Not yet. He has been able to get picks pretty consistently. Unfortunately, the ultimates of Chinese Taipei turned it the other way in the last fight. But if Taimu can consistently pick off a Lucio fight after fight, it's still worth running here as Finland pushes his out once more. Linkser a third shatter on the ready. See if he can land, but no, Zonda takes him right out to start things off, and now Finland getting pushed back a bit.
Yeah, and what happened there is you saw Taimu put a nice shot onto the enemy's Zarya, and they just chased her underneath the bridge, but it was Chinese Taipei there in a perfect position. Zonda with the Reaper, he was able to pick up a few eliminations, and now it's going to force Finland back all the way up. Some nice shots there, though, by Taimu, putting one hit into Lilgo, and still, Taimu's so accurate with Widow, just putting down so much damage, but you look, there's nobody there to follow this up.
One thing that's starting to become a problem here is that Taimu has not been getting the pickoffs the last 2 runs. I do think Chinese Taipei is playing around the Widow pretty heavily. If Taimu doesn't get pickoff in this run, I would expect him to switch off as time. While there's 3 minutes left for Finland, it's not quite as much as they would like. They will change up something sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I mean, if you're Taimu, you use the ultimate here. If it works, I mean, you stick with the Widow, obviously, through the spawn. If not, you drop here. This is where you make the change. It's going to be Taimu opening things up with a big first blood there on the Lazy Titan. And you see the Earth Shatter come in from Baby Knight, and he's going to be able to knock down one, but Linkser comes straight through, and you have Zonda with that Death Blossom. Can he make anything happen? Big kill there, taking out Himsy, getting Roadhog out of the way, and here comes the Death Blossom, able to pick up 2. Zonda going huge on the point for Chinese Taipei.
I think this is where we're going to see Finland swap things up. Taimu will probably go here to a McCree, to a Reaper, something that does more damage, and there it is. Taimu will be swapping here to the Reaper. They want consistency. They have 2 minutes here, so they have about 3-4 cracks here at this apple, but overall, Chinese Taipei coming out with a really good defense here with the Blizzard up for the next fight. Things can be a little bit rough here for Finland.
Yeah, not just fantastic ult usage, too, out of Chinese Taipei. Danny will have the Blizzard, so see if he uses that in this next fight or whether he decides to save it for when that nano boost comes in. And he's trying to section off the players here of Finland, and here comes the Blizzard, and he's got a lot of Finland players inside of it. There goes Cine. It's going to just freeze the Reinhardt, move on, let his teammates finish off that target. Very nice hold again from Chinese Taipei, and now they're just trying to finish off these last few members of Finland, going on the hunt here. They have Himsy blocked, fantastic wall, and now you'll see they'll probably start to back up ZP, get set up. They don't want to get too over-aggressive here and get picked off coming off the spawn.
So keeping in mind that Finland really does need to kill almost everyone here without suffering losses in turn, their best chance of winning this is the window that they're going to have between Taimu and Zappis. Zappis will have the nano boost on the Taimu. He's not going to have a Death Blossom, but it's still really, really effective to let Taimu go in there. If that doesn't work out for them, or if Himsy doesn't get an early pick, I can't see Finland taking this point. So Finland, that's what to look onto here, and maybe Moppa can set them up here with this Graviton as well.
Yeah, and I think they'll have the Graviton, obviously, and they will also have Zappis with the nano boost here in just a second. You'll see they have a lot of ultimates to work with. This is their best chance to take this one. It's going to be Mafu using that Graviton, and he actually falls down. It's going to be Linkster coming through. A big Earth Shatter there, able to knock down 3 members of Chinese Taipei, and Zonda trying to stay alive for Chinese Taipei. Big Death Blossom there. He's only able to get 1 player with it, and just kills being exchanged inside of the point. And it's going to be Finland coming out on top. And a lot of these engagements, Himsy in the back trying to stay alive, has Mafu there with him. And Mafu doing a fantastic job applying those barriers to his teammate, keeping him up. And you see Zappis just putting down some shots there with Anna. And now you see Finland, they have control of the point ZP. It's whether they can keep this hold.
The problem is keeping control. They have suffered some casualties here, and the defensive respawns are coming in. They have not gotten a single tick here, so even though they won the fight, Anubis, with its advantage in defense, means that Chinese Taipei is still getting the ability to swirl onto point, but Taimu coming in, the Death Blossom picks up 2. Finland still holding strong. Their reinforcements have come in, and Finland, at the last moment here, well on their way to capturing this point. They have a full 6 back and in here, and Chinese Taipei is on the ropes.
Oh, it's a disaster for Chinese Taipei. They used the nano boost on that last fight. They gave it to their Winston, got sucked up in the Graviton Surge. Now they don't have it to come here on the attack here, trying to take the point back, and that ends up being their downfall the end of the day, and it's going to be Finland. They're able to get both points, do not have any time left. So it was a good defensive stand from Chinese Taipei there in the first half. You really, I mean, when you look at some of the stats, you know, Eddie Boss had a fantastic first half for Chinese Taipei. So Zonda do some big things there on the Reaper. So a good first half there for Chinese Taipei.
It was great for them, and really one key part that was kind of cool to watch is that Taimu, of course, one of the best Widowmaker players in the game when he does decide to play Widow, but Eddie Bost on the Ana was applying a lot of counter pressure to him, took him out multiple times in those Ana v Widow fights. So Eddie Bost was a big reason as to why Taimu didn't have quite as much flexibility in room as he normally would have when playing that offensive Widowmaker.
You get a shot at some of the players here. Mafu with a fantastic hat. I believe that is a Daffy Duck hat, if I'm not mistaken. I have not watched Looney Tunes in God knows how many years, I believe. That's what he's going for there with that look. I don't have one of those hats. I would like one, though, if he can refer me where to get one. But looks like going into the second half, is there anything you're looking to see from Finland?
From Finland here, I think they're going to be playing a more secure defense here. Where I think they were going to be a little bit more aggressive at points, but here I think they just want to try and drag things out. Where even if they lose point A, they want to drag enough time out of this so that they don't lose point B and they don't have to play for a draw.
So Finland on defense will go with Taimu on Winston, just showing how deep his hero pool is here. I mean, from Widow to Winston, and we know about all the DPS characters he can play. And you'll have Himsy staying true on that Roadhog. It's been so effective, able to get those early first picks. Taimu not doing a good job hiding the fact that he will be playing Winston this one, as he walks directly up to the Chinese Taipei spawn door.
Well, as
Probably
mentioned,
not ideal.
As mentioned, Taimu doesn't really play tanks all that often in his normal roles in normal competition, but here in this exhibition, people flex a little bit more, and Taimu going to do his best Miro impression here as he uses Winston to create space here for Finland and not let Chinese Taipei get the engagements that they're looking for.
And it'll be Chinese Taipei going with Reaper here on Zonda. It was so effective on the defensive end. I like the switch here on offense because what that'll happen is when they engage, they'll be able to get in and actually have somebody to burn down these tank players. And you see Danny getting a hook of his own there at the beginning, though. It's Taimu able to take 2 out on Winston. It's going to be Himsey getting 1 as well. Danny having to back up, waiting for his teammates to come off the spawn. They are just throwing all types of stuff at him. Finally gets a hook on a Taimu. Not enough, though. He is going to fall on the early first push domination there by Finland of Chinese Taipei. That now Chinese Taipei has to go back to the drawing board here, ZP.
They do have to go back to the drawing board, and what you can expect from Finland here is more of the same, where they are going to be more aggressive on defense. Taimu has already built up a primal rage, which means that he's going to be even more aggressive here on this defense. He's going to get in the face of Chinese Taipei, and he's going to be creating all the space for his team as they sit back comfortably behind Linkzer's Rhine Shield and just lay in poke damage with poke damage. You do have the Winston leaping in, but here it comes. Nano boosted Winston on the way.
Yeah, and he just gets right to the back line, able to take out the Chinese Taipei Lucio player, so that is a huge play there by Taimu, and that is going to make it very difficult. And look, he's even just going for the Ana player, but a fantastic Zarya shield comes in and just keeps Eddie Boss alive. So Eddie Boss able to heal his teammates, his team's Roadhog through that as well. So nice play there by Chinese Taipei, and now they're looking to go on the offensive. And you see Linkzer, he's going to back up, wait for some teammates, and then Finland's going to maybe make one more attempt to hold this CP.
It's going to be really hard for Finland to get back in on this, and it carries risk. Because think about this here, X. If they go in right now and it fails, Chinese Taipei will have a golden road to second, but they're going in. Linkzer drops Euro Share, doesn't quite get as much as he's looking for. Chinese Taipei just bends back. They haven't lost anyone yet here in this fight. This Taimu takes out Lazy Time, but it's back and forth. This could be risky for Finland if it doesn't pay off.
Yeah, now Zonda's going to be that nano-boosted Reaper inside the point, just doing all types of work here. Uses that Wraith form, just dodging Taimu there, letting his Winston come through. And here's where things get dangerous, CP, because Chinese Taipei takes that point. Now they have the opportunity to push through.
They have the opportunity to push through. Finland is not going to be able to set up properly here, and this is the risk that Finland took. It has not paid off here just yet. Chinese Taipei with a great opportunity to put this map away, get this second point, and here they go. Groundstone Surge is on the way, and Zonda just feasting right now.
Yeah, and the Reaper just said Finland has had no answer for this. I mean, Zonda has just gone absolutely huge for Chinese Taipei, just putting down tons of damage on Linkzer. He's going to be able to pick up 2, and this would be a huge upset here in our first map in this series if Chinese Taipei were able to hold on just a little bit longer. You see, this is going to be Lucio inside of the point trying to stay alive. It's going to be Chinese Taipei picking up some kills, but here comes Taimu. He's able to get through the nano boost and just force Chinese Taipei back. So it looks like Finland going to be able to get a hold here. It's going to be 2 ticks, though, for Chinese Taipei.
And yet, X, the damage was done here. You take a look at Chinese Taipei. They got 2/3 of the way to where they need to go, and they have 5 minutes left remaining. Finland is going to have to tighten up big time if they want to hold for this. It's not impossible. We've seen teams hold here time and time again, but it's still going to be very, very difficult. Chinese Taipei, they're just in a great position.
No, I mean, 5 minutes is an eternity on this map, right? I mean, you can get inside there, and they did such a good job with that initial push, just getting those 2 ticks. They just do not need that much more, and you see Danny, he's going to be able to take out Taimu here at the beginning. Zonda going on top, going to set up a big Death Blossom opportunity. He drops down, though, sees the enemy sound barrier come in, and the Blizzard does not use that Death Blossom. Smart play here from Zonda.
Zonda does get poked down a little bit. Still on that Death Blossom, looking for his opportunity. Graviton Surge is having Zonda just start spinning into Finland. Not quite the result he's looking for. 2 members of Finland are down, but there's enough up that they should be able to keep stalling this. Mafu, being a tank in all senses of the word, has 3 kills here in this fight and is being a big impediment right now to Chinese Taipei trying to take this point.
Oh, and it's Zappis just trying to keep Taimu alive, and now just trying to defend the point. He's being just bombarded by all members of Chinese Taipei. Fantastic job by Zappis, able to stay alive, and you see Linkzer switch over to that Tracer just to get inside of the point as fast as possible. He picks up 1, but really it was just Zappis able to stay alive in there on that Ana. Such a big play there for Finland.
It was big on Finland, and you actually saw the coordination there between Mafu and Zappis, where Mafu it's not, he doesn't get anywhere near enough credit for it, but he is one of the more survivable Zaryas in the game. Plays it really well, multi-talented player, and they were able to hold things in there for Finland as Chinese Taipei, they're coming on another push. They have a Graviton, but Blazing Titan has to be careful not to die before it even begins.
Well, I mean, here's a perfect opportunity for Chinese Taipei, right? I mean, they have 3 ultimates to work with on the side of Finland. You have nothing up, so this is one where Chinese Taipei can really start to take advantage. And here comes Danny with the whole hog. They use the Graviton and the Earth Shatter as well. You see players just dropping like flies for Finland. You see one sleeping on the ground. It's going to be Himsy on Mei. He's taken out. It's going to be another kill going in favor for Chinese Taipei, and they get on the point, and it looks like ZP. All Links are just getting in on Tracer, just trying to stay alive, but it is not enough. It's going to be Chinese Taipei taking that second point.
And now Chinese Taipei is set up beautifully to put themselves up 1-0 here in the series. All they need to do is come back around once more, capture point A, and that is going to be it. They will be the winners of Temple Anubis. Finland gonna have to dig real deep here on this defense, not lose a single team fight if they want to keep this even.
And Danny on Roadhog has been absolutely massive, 38-8 at the moment, 17,000 damage being done. So Danny doing a fantastic job on that hero, really turning the tides in his team's favor.
Danny showing up with a good Roadhog. Of course, we were looking here more at Himsy to start things out, but Chinese Taipei saying, look, Himsy isn't the only person that can play a good Roadhog. We know we have one as well.
Now we'll see what Finland goes with here on the defensive side of things. They are going to put Taimu on McCree, so that is a little bit of a change up from the first defensive side they had. And ZP, what is the logic behind going with McCree here?
The logic behind this is that Taimu is one of the most explosive playmakers in the game when he's on McCree. When you look at McCree's on the North American and European side, there's really 2 equals to Taimu here in IDD, QD, and Surefour, but Taimu is definitely one of the heads of the Hydra. And any team has trouble getting through him, so Taimu looking to put his team on his back a little bit here with this McCree pick.
A lot of pressure for Chinese Taipei on Zonda. He's been phenomenal up until this point, but trying to get his team a win here in the first map against Finland would be massive. And you know, a lot of just the fact that he's going to be the one that's going to be able to pick up a lot of kills, just get in and shred down this 3-tank lineup. And see, just taking down some shots at range, waiting for his teammates to push up and get onto the enemy bridge, just trying to force the side of Finland to that lower ground.
And for now, Chinese Taipei is being pushed back a bit. You take a look at Finland, they're not running the defensive Winston where they're going super deep with it, but they're laying in good poke damage. Taimu able to take down Baby. It's 2 quick kills, but the hook comes in, and Taimu getting saved by the Zarya shield and the sleep dart just rolls forward, and this will be a full wipe here for the side of Finland.
You know, a lot of the times, you know, you see, like, we watch a McCree play, and they're just putting down some shots at range. This is the complete opposite. Taimu just knows how great his accuracy and aim is, and he's able to just get into the opponent's faces and just take players out as McCree.
But he made a terrible mistake there. He went way too far up. There was no need for that. It was a positioning error here by Taimu. And now that is a long run back from the spawn all the way here. This is a big opportunity for Chinese Taipei as they're going to roll in here with the 6v5.
Yeah, and it's going to be Whole Hog coming out from Himsy, but he is quickly putting a Graviton Surge. You see Zonda's going to be able to pick up 2. This is a big opportunity. Chinese Taipei getting closer towards the point. Zonda's going to be able to pick players up. Mafu trying to stay alive as Zarya. He's going to fall as well. And you can see there's nobody around for Finland, and it's going to be Chinese Taipei taking the point, ZP.
Unfortunately, if you're going to say a main reason for that, aside from Chinese Taipei playing well, Taimu just went far too deep. It was not necessary, and it gave Chinese Taipei the opening they needed to win that game. So it was a big play from Chinese Taipei to get through, and Finland, they have some mistakes to fix going into map number 2.
Yeah, you know, obviously when you get going on a DPS hero like you were on Taimu there, playing on that McCree, you were just pushing up and just getting so much damage going and just picking up so many kills that you had to feel pretty good about your chances to take that one when things were going your favor. But it's Chinese Taipei that takes game number 1. And for a lot of our fans out there, they don't know a lot about these guys from Chinese Taipei. So let's take a look at them.
Chinese Taipei is coming into this with a lot to prove, and this is the perfect chance to show the world what they've got.
大家都说我们分到的组叫做死亡之组，有芬兰以及韩国都有很知名的玩家。当我们知道这个组分组的时候，其实队员以及我都不气馁。
This team is in arguably one of the hardest groups of BlizzCon, but they have a secret weapon. If you unleash him right and you play around him, he can carry a team himself.
游戏很好玩，就会 一直很投入进去，然后有很多很厉害的选手会想要去超越。
像我们本身队伍有一个专精输出的玩家叫中打，像是除了我之外的3名成员，他们都是既定 AHQ 的成员，所以我在挑剩下的成员的话，优先会选择我们缺乏的辅助。
因为我跟现在的队员，其实在